Welcome to the Board Game Snobs podcast. Critically harsh reviews with a touch of class.
And go.
Yeah, baby. I'm back. I've been gone. This is like, when's the last time we've recorded us? It's been like a month.
Just the two of us. It's been a long while.
Well, we're not together. We're still separated because I'm working all the time and I don't have time to come see
Thanks a lot.
Your ugly Harkonnen face.
Why? I'm tired of you supporting your family. Come support Board Game Snobs.
If we get a Patreon going, I might be more inclined because I feel obligated.
Well, then do it.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to bilk people for money for our mediocre banter.
But I do. Any money's good money. Greed is good. That's what Michael Douglas said before he got super greedy.
Super
in
greedy?
part 2. Did you watch part 2?
Of what?
Greed is good. Wall Street. Charlie Sheen, Michael Douglas.
That was all. I can't. All those shows run together.
I didn't say it was a good movie.
Is that the one with his suspenders? He wears suspenders. Yeah. I can't handle those Wall Street shows. I watched the crud. It's got Spock in it. Spock and Kevin Spacey and
Leonard Nimoy.
No, the new Spock, not Leonard Nimoy. The new Spock.
Spock went to Wall Street?
Yeah, it's the new Spock and
the new Spock?
Stanley Tucci, and it's got a bunch of famous people.
He's like,
Jeffrey
greed
Irons,
is illogical.
Demi Moore is in it. The guy off The Mentalist. They have The Mentalist.
Wait, The Mentalist is on there? Well, he's going to know what stocks are going to do.
And the Marvel dude, the one that has the jewel in his head. Vision is in it. And so what it is that Stanley Tucci is somehow ahead of The Mentalist and Vision, and he figures out the 2008 subprime mortgage housing bubble, and then Spock helps them to sell all their stock, and basically they're all bad people.
It would be more interesting if all these characters were indeed Vision and Spock helping Wall Street. I mean, Spock could figure out which things are which. Vision can... he could force his stock to do what he wanted it to.
The OG Spock, when he went back in time, he just saved a whale.
He covered his ears in shame and saved a whale.
Basically.
I don't think his ears would have given him away in these times. They'd be like, oh yeah, the dude's shaped his ears. Like, that's a thing.
Isn't that weird that if they would have come back to now, Spock would just be in vogue?
He would be he would be a TikTok star with his ears.
His haircut. That haircut's not on fleek.
No, it's not.
Is that a saying? On fleek? It's not slapping.
It was like 7 years ago.
Well,
you mean flapping?
Flapping. It's not flapping.
Let me tell you something that irritates me. When I go to Subway and I get a sandwich, okay, A. I've also noticed lots of times I'll say A as if a B is to come, and I will hardly ever say B.
What's the option to the sandwich at Subway? A salad?
Salads and pizzas.
Nobody's getting pizzas nor salads at Subway.
I've often gotten a salad when I've tried to lose weight and go a lower cal or keto or something.
That's not. But the sandwiches is what helps you lose weight, though. That's what helps.
No, but I'm talking about if you're going keto
and hanging out with younger people.
When the name that shall not be said in Subway. When you go to Subway, okay. Anyway, you got me off track. I go to Subway. First of all, the one thing happened to me that I've yearned for ever since I watched Cheers. I walk in. This has never happened before. I go in this place literally every morning. I drive my truck into their parking lot because it's nice and big. I get the same sandwich every morning. The lady, I walk in this time, the lady finally says, the usual? I got the usual. She knew me. I've never had someone say the usual. I got that home. I felt like I was in Mayberry all of a sudden. I got that hometown vibe. She said the usual. I said, yes, ma'am. And she made my sandwich. She knew what I wanted. Have you ever had someone say the usual to you?
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's kind of also it's a sad experience because
where have you been that they say the usual?
I get the same thing everywhere I go.
Well, tell me where. Where did someone say the usual, Jerry?
The various coffee shops that I frequent, just everywhere.
Coffee.
My doctor's office.
Coffee. One knuckle or two. Is that the usual?
Pretty much. That's how it rolls. And
okay. But that's not even the point of this story.
What's the point? Because this story
sadly, you suck. Sadly, the same lady that said the usual, that brightened my day, I was on cloud 9. I felt like I just walked into Cheers and I was high-fiving everybody. She then proceeds to put tomatoes on my sandwich that are very green. Very green.
Or were they fried?
No, but there were plenty of other tomatoes in there that were not near as green. And I had to say, nobody wants a hard green tomato in their... I said, can you switch that out with another more red tomato? Oh, sure. And also, while you're making my sandwich and putting the jalapeno on there, don't give me... They just dig their hand into that thing of jalapenos and they drop them onto my sandwich. Don't give me the jalapenos with the stems on it. I don't want dim stems. Take them out of there. That's like asking me if I want the heel part of a loaf of bread.
I eat the heels.
I hate the heel, and most people do, but you're a weirdo. I understand that.
I am king of the heel. I am king of the heel.
I don't. You are a heel.
Well, no, all the other pieces of bread, you don't know if they're upside down or right side up. Like they're
what?
Yeah, like you don't
know.
They're
clearly shaped so.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
When you get a loaf of bread, they go slightly outwards towards the top, and then they have a little indentation, a little poof at the ends, like a house. They're like a little house.
No, they don't.
It's like a silhouette of a house.
No, the heel, you know which side goes which. I like well-defined.
Oh, you're not talking about vertically. You're talking about like if the bread's laying down, you don't know which side is up.
Yes.
You said, okay. Well, I understand.
No, and yes, that's what's important. And people are always knocking the heel. Well, the people just do that. Nobody. When's the last time?
Because it's all crust. Nobody likes the crust of toast, bread.
When's the last time you've ate a heel? Give it a shot.
I don't remember because I don't like them. Why would I eat it?
You don't know. You just think
I do know. I have had a heel. I have had a heel.
When?
It's been years. I know what a heel is.
Give it a shot. You might try it.
I'm dying on this heel.
You have to. You're heel curious. You might enjoy the heel.
I'm taking it to Capitol Hill, Beverly Hills.
Let's. What else was I going to talk about? Are you done with this Subway story?
I'm done with the Subway. Don't give me no green tomatoes. There's plenty of red fresh ones in there. And don't give me them stems. I don't want them stems.
What I would do if I worked at Subway, when any random person would come in, I would just look at them and say, the usual. And then they would be all happy. And then I would proceed to make the crappiest sandwich. Just like get peanut bread, lay some tuna and meatballs on it, put some mustard and mayonnaise together, and like this weird sandwich and wrap it up and just hope that they don't say anything because
they're so excited they don't care what you make them. I have done that. I've done that. Like she forgot my cheese one time. I'm like, that's okay. She thinks this is the usual.
Jalapenos and tuna, and I'll put that in and wrap it up. Charge them like $9.
Mustard, you just like you like extra mustard, right?
You want your regular chips and just dig around and get the,
Sun chips. Nobody likes sun chips.
I eat the sun chips.
Oh, my God.
I enjoy the sun chips. It's
and
obvious.
Mustard. I only need a strip of mustard. That's plenty. Mustard goes a long way.
This is true. You had a topic, sort of, kind of, for
a semi-topipic before we get into emails
I disagree.
or whatever.
I think this is a full topic. This is not a half topic.
Okay.
You mentioned this topic.
This very show, what we have just done is the crux of this topic. So I'm on Twitter. I try to keep our Twitter presence there, even though nobody knows who we are, and Jerry doesn't mess with anything.
I got banned. I can't be on there.
So I go on Twitter every now and then, and I don't follow this person, but I guess someone I do had liked it or retweeted it or something. And this person I'm looking at it right now so that I don't get it wrong and I don't paraphrase too much, something incorrectly. They said, board gaming podcast leading with two guys umming and erring through inside jokes and what I did today small talk for 15 plus minutes before mentioning a board game. OMG, how do y'all listen to these? And then go on down a little bit further and they talk about how they would benefit from getting to the point, reading this storytelling, some sort of like how to do storytelling type thing. Then it says, I'm amazed they fill the first 15 minutes with non-podcast tropes and zero board game content like it was a bit or a dare. They didn't even riff about their favorite whiskey or craft beer. Always good for 4 to 6 minutes anytime there's two guys talking. I had 3 reactions to this.
I want to hear all 3.
The first one was, that's us. How dare you? That's us.
I'm looking for this person on Twitter as we speak. I'm after him.
So yes, we banter. And so I'm like, kind of like, ouch, that's us. But then I start thinking, well, not really, because we started off a certain way. We've morphed. We had an idea when we started. The idea when we started was, yes, that is most board gaming podcasts, especially. There's always the banter segment. I mean, we even made it a joke, a thing. The banter segment. Engage. Because that's what literally every board gaming podcast does. But for our show, generally, we're all banter segment, and then we talk about a game at the very end, or a topic, or whatever the crap we want to. So I'm like, no, we're different. We're different. But are we? I don't know. I think the main thing might be listening to someone that is either uninformed or I do take out any ums and errors and long pauses and I edit. I put forth the effort to edit the and long pauses. Yes, that kills me too. So my first reaction was, how dare they? That's us. My second reaction was, wait, I agree. I agree with this person because that's how we started our podcast, because every freaking board game podcast was the same. Banter. What did you play today? And then either a main big game or a main topic. That is every single board game podcast out there. And we have kind of morphed into what we are, where we just talk about any and everything. And then we talk a little bit about board games at the end, or interspersed throughout, whatever we want to do. We don't really have a formula, which could be a pro or a con.
Our formula is success.
But we have found a very small measure of success in what we do, because the people that listen to us, we get oftentimes told, we listen to you for the banter, not the board games. Because, in fact, on Sporadically Bored Facebook, I just saw a post where one of the listeners was like, I want more podcasts like Sporadically Bored and Snobs. Not something that's just like board game. And I'm the same way. And we've had this discussion before about when you first get into board games, you're kind of like just, bam, the dice tower, bam, all these other ones that are just like board game. But once you've kind of gotten into it, and then you're kind of like, well, I've kind of got all the board games I ever really need. Sure, I'm still looking, but then I kind of want the other stuff, the alternate talk. Then my third reaction. So first, that's us. How dare
Can you have multiple reactions?
I did. I
don't think then you can.
I can't. Shut up and listen.
You have a reaction.
No, I had 3 reactions. First, it was, ouch. Then it was, well, I kind of agree. Then the third one was, however. People can do whatever the crap they want to do. If these guys want to suck and be boring, let them. You don't have to listen. If whatever podcast they were subtweeting about is having a good time, they're enjoying themselves, let them do what they want to do. Why is there some sort of podcast police? They're not professionals. They're not getting any money. This is a hobby. It's something for fun for the vast majority of especially board game podcasts out there. So those were my 3 reactions. First, I was like, ouch. Then I was like, I agree. But then thirdly, I was like, you know what? Let these 2 guys talking have their fun. That's what I had to say.
Well, all your reactions are wrong. I don't know how you had 3 reactions and none of them were the correct one.
Okay.
So, first off, like anything on Twitter and people talking on Twitter, they should not be able to do anything to you. They can't hurt you. So the idea that this person is hitting the nail on the head regarding our podcast, I don't care. Secondly, as for agreeing with her, I believe that, yes, there are formats that are very popular on podcasts. And yes, I will say that I am very bored with that particular format. Like, I do not enjoy the, oh, hey, what'd you do this week type thing, and back and forth and what game did you play? There is a lot of banter that's not high quality.
It's not green tomato. So, it's not green tomato banter.
No, it's not, because people don't lead the interesting life that you do. You're on the road. You're eating at all the Subways. They know you by name.
Every Subway that accommodates
every Subway
an
within a 50-mile radius. yeah. Every Subway within a 50-mile radius just knows you. It's that's Gobby. That's the guy. That's him. That's the Night Rider of the Subway. And also, I have deep thoughts regarding your last reaction, which is not really a reaction because you've had time to think about it. Having people just make a podcast for fun. We know a lot of people that do that. Like, there's a lot of podcasts out there that people will just, they're not very good. They're not very good.
No, they're not good.
They're just not.
They barely have. Some people don't even have microphones.
No, they talk into the air,
the computer,
and they talk. They just talk into the air, and they hope that Microsoft is good enough to be listening and record what they're saying. That's basically all that they do.
Their voice echoes around their large empty room they're recording in.
What I'm trying to say is that a lot of the podcasts, they suck. As do most of the YouTube channels. There's just a lot of people out there that shouldn't. I know people want to put their voice out there, and they think that what they have to say is new and different and valuable, but they should leave it to the professionals. That's us.
But we're not professionals. We're amateurs. We're almost professional level comedians.
We're almost professional. So that's my saying. So if people are having problems with producing quality content, my advice is just to quit. Just stop what you're doing. Go find something that you're better at. Have you tried quilting, or perhaps
spinning a good yarn with yarning?
Part time at Subway. Something. I don't know. I do agree that the format of the banter is tiring.
Sandwich artist. So if you have artistic skills, become a sandwich artist. Like, you can't talk about my craft. I'm an artist. What if somebody said that to you in Subway? That's too much mustard. I'm an artist. How dare you?
Class of Thursday. I keep doing now that you mentioned that.
I know.
That's something
I'm editing them all out. Don't worry.
No, I want to keep my ums. Why do you try to censor me? Well, I think of our good friends, but I think of Mediocre Podcast. I think of the Gateway Network. And the Gateway Network has some premier amateur mediocre podcasts. I think of Superboard Sunday. Now, those guys, their podcast they have that format. Except with 2 guys, it's 4 guys or 3.5. I don't know. 3.5. I don't know who's all on there anymore. I hardly listen. But their podcast, they do that for fun.
Guys. Don't worry.
They stay on. There's
Brian, Christian, Frankie, Jim.
Jim's the only one on there whose opinion is even remotely refined. I'm not sure. Frankie, I don't know. Don't get me. We need to have Frankie on. I have questions for Frankie.
Okay.
I have deep questions for Frankie. Get him on the show. But their podcast is just for fun. And I'm sure they enjoy it. And they have listeners and people who enjoy listening to that show. And that's fine. I think, as you said, people should be able to put out what they want and people can listen to what they want.
Well,
that's
now you're
fine.
but now you're being contradictory.
Well,
you just said people should be able to put out what they want, but then a second ago you said people should find a different hobby.
They should. Here, people are free to do what they want, but I'm actively encouraging 90% of them to stop. Like you can do, look, when you see people wearing like corduroy, you think to yourself, they can do that.
Easy.
But at the same time, you kind of go,
my chaps are made of corduroy.
Maybe.
My buttless chaps are made of corduroy.
Well, that's
and whenever you hear zzz, zzz, zzz, zzz, you better look out. Here comes Guppy.
That's why people should encourage their friends to stop doing things that are actively holding them back, and some people just don't get it. And so there's nothing wrong with having your own podcast, YouTube channel, doing your own media, but sometimes you just got to say, hey, have you tried something else? This is why The Voice and American Idol, there's those people who get on stage and they think they can sing and they can't.
My friends told me I can sing.
I hold their friends responsible for that.
Yes.
I would not if Enrique came to me and said, I'm going to go on America's Got Talent, I would say, Enrique, what talent do you have? What talent do you think you possess? And
he's a cat whisperer.
Whatever he does, his ventriloquism, whatever it is that he is trying to go on stage, if it was truly awful, I would tell him and do my best to make sure he understands this is probably, you're going to get skewered on national television. Please don't do it.
I felt that way about lots of podcasts. When I got into board game, I was just powering through all sorts of board game podcasts. And like you said, 90%, if not more, are just terribly boring. And I guess in saying that, I'm saying I don't think ours is boring. Clearly not. Else we wouldn't be doing it.
Well, no, it's because you should not feel bad that you're better than everyone else. I don't. I don't feel bad that through our hard work and dedication, we have elevated our mediocre podcast to greatness.
We've grown it organically.
We are influential in the sphere of board gaming media. Paula Dibbing was on our show.
I know, right? You're welcome. I struggled mightily, persistently to get her on here. But this is my thing. I looked up what is the average downloads, like the average downloads for podcasting. And I believe it was like somewhere, like if you're in the if you're not hundreds, like at 100 plus, like 100 to 200 is probably like, I think the average. And they're like, anything above that, you're doing really good. So that tells you how many podcasts are out there that are struggling at 30 downloads, 40 downloads, 50, anything below 100.
And I feel for those people because we used to be them until we decided not to be and become great. And
just one day decided, you know what?
Well, no, you look, greatness doesn't just happen overnight. It's something, iron sharpens iron. And in this case, sharp wit sharpens dull.
Here we go.
Mundane
Here comes
banter.
the insult. Appreciate that.
No, I'm saying this is what happened to us. We took what we had.
Did we sharpen each other, or was it just you sharpening me?
There is the blade, and then there's the whetstone. That's how. And the blade will get dull unless it's rubbing up against the stone, the very large, bulbous stone.
Bulbous stone. I was saying this.
You are my rock.
How dare you?
You are the rock for which the foundation of this podcast is built on. I am. Yes, that's what I'm trying to. That's the euphemism I'm going to use.
Okay. When I saw the post and sporadically board about list some other podcasts, I told him smart list. Do these three rich millionaire actors need listeners? No, they don't need them, but they are good. It's Jason Bateman, Sean Levy, and Will Arnett. They're freaking hilarious, and they have a back and forth banter. And Will Arnett they just insult each other constantly. And surprising, I always find it surprising when you have on comedians as a guest on a show, and like almost all the comedians suck on podcasts. They're like boring. They had on Aquafina, who I like her shows, her movies.
Love the water.
But she was just like super, just I guess normal. Like she was just answering their questions yes or no. Like wasn't given anything, but just the banter between them is what makes it funny, because they'll just start insulting each other. But I was listening to it and I was like, now those guys know how to podcast. And they're and of course they have, they've got production out the wazoo. They're millionaires. I done forgot where I was going with this.
Your point is that their format is nothing special.
Right. They literally just come on, they insult each other, then they have a guest come on, and the guest may or may not tell us stories or two. They had Tom Hanks as the newest one. Very good. Enjoyed that one. Ryan Reynolds was funny. I like the Ryan Reynolds one. They've got like 68 episodes. They just started last year in the pandemic. But they're good. They're good at what they do. They're entertaining, even though the show may not be that great, that episode. But just listening to them, those are guys that know how to podcast.
Well, they do, and they do a fine job. And I don't listen to a lot of podcasts other than our own, but I have listened to several episodes of Smartless, and I enjoy it thoroughly. I hope to one day to be famous enough to be asked on, because I love Will Arnett. And
he's
the guy
freaking hilarious. And Jason Bateman is just so he's exactly like his characters. It's crazy. He's just like this subtle snark. And I know snark, lots of people, snark is a term that is used widely and generally, but I like snark. And it's not.
I'm looking up the definition of snark.
It's just kind of, I would consider you snarky.
Snark, an imaginary animal.
You have the spirit of this imaginary animal that is oftentimes it cuts, it insults. It always just has something. It's probably like the modern day sassy.
Snark is.
You have to look up at the Urban Dictionary, probably.
No. I found it. It is an attitude or expression of mocking, irreverence, and sarcasm. The synonyms for this is also crotchety or snappish.
That's you.
I'm crotchety.
You are indeed crotchety.
Giving to crotchets. Crotchet. I guess that's a thing.
Crochet.
No, it's not crochet. That's spelled differently. Subject to whims, crankiness, or ill-tempered. I am crotchety and snarky.
You're a snark. You are Tony Snark.
I am the Jason Bateman of Board Game Podcasting.
You are. And even Sean, I don't know a lot of his stuff, but he throws some zingers in there, and it's good. I just like that show. Anyway, enough about Smartless. They have millions of listeners.
I can't believe that you got set off by somebody on Twitter. I do understand her point, though.
No, I didn't get set off. It made me. It made. I didn't get triggered.
I want you to know that your feelings are validated.
My feelings. I'm hearing you. I'm listening you. It's not that, but it made me think. Like I said, I've already said, but it just made me think, is that us? But yet, is there anything wrong with that? And just let the guys do what they want to do.
I found it. I'm responding back to the Twitter.
No, please
As
don't.
two men who have a podcast.
Please don't.
Where we just banter about
Please don't.
whiskey and other malted beverages.
Please don't respond.
Please do not make fun of our lived experiences.
Please don't respond. I really appreciate if you don't respond.
What?
It's Twitter. It's Twitter. If it's so invalid, then why bother responding?
You make a fine point.
But thank you. And then like a previous tweet of theirs was also like really tearing down the dice tower. So they have strong opinions, and I like a lot of the things they say, and I don't even follow this person. Maybe I should follow them. A lot of their opinions are valid. It's like they say this, and it's very like kind of, what's the term? Controversial. Like, bam, take that. And I'm not that guy. Like, I'm not a controversy guy.
I'm all about controversy.
I know you are. And that's why I edit the podcast, because I take out all the stuff that is controversial.
I cannot believe that you removed from the Disagreeable Nerd podcast regarding Dune. You removed my rant where we rated Who Would You Rather, Tom Holland or Timothy Chalamet.
I have my reasons.
You deleted that.
Upon re-listening, it wasn't that great. It wasn't that funny. And B, it had nothing to do with the Dune podcast, so I took it out.
I think that you're pro Tom Holland. Is what I think it is, because we come to the conclusion that it was indeed. Well, now even Paige is flip-flopped. She's went to Tom Holland. I don't know what the deal is. Tom Holland is not that hot.
No, but I do think he has more charisma than Timothy Chalamet.
No.
Also, you kept saying Shamalot.
Shamalot.
Looks it's not Camelot, it's Chalamet.
No, he's Canadian. So they
Timothy
say it differently.
Chalamet.
Shallots.
No.
Shallots. Timothy shallots.
Garlic and shallots.
They're like small potatoes.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode. We got a solid 30 minutes. No, wait, hold, stop. We got a solid 30 minutes. I've got to put this out there tonight. We're recording this Wednesday.
One email.
I was going to save it for maybe the next episode.
I know, but let me read one email.
Okay.
That's all I want. Can I have it?
Okay.
I'm going to read... let me read here. Brandon Haynes, his is no.
I was about to say his is a whole podcast.
No, his is a whole podcast. Let me see here. Let me find
Tyler who lost his games in a.
Tyler, what is wrong with you? He's got a big. Hang on. Let me find a small one. Let me find a small email. No, that one's big too. What's with these people and they're big? They're big.
That's why I said we can.
Brenton Valad.
Okay.
He says, "Good afternoon, Gobby. I would include Jerry in that, but what you said, he doesn't read the email." Well, Brenton. I'm reading it now. I heard you say a few episodes ago you needed some interesting guests on your show to send our CV. I have now had a few Roku gins in me, and what the heck? My name is Brenton. Brenton, like Brenton.
Roku? Like the streaming device?
I don't know. Did he drink so much that he consumed?
He ate a Roku streaming stick.
He can now stream Hulu.
You press it, his belly button, Netflix comes on.
Let's see. He's now in his late 40s. I have a wide spectrum of board game experience. While I am sure it is obvious by now that I am not an English teacher, I believe myself to be a good cook, a lover of vast array of movies and music, and wealth of useless information, dad jokes, and other things. These things should mean a pretty interesting banter. As for game topics, I can wax poetic about modern to recent releases. Modern classics. I currently have written a few unpublished blogs on the topic of keeping similar games in your collection and intend to write more about big games.
That's fascinating.
Wait, it is fascinating.
Unpublished blogs.
You don't know. Brenton might be. I have no. Let's see. I have no intention of posting them anywhere. Sometimes I just like to get things.
So he wrote a diary. That's a diary.
He says I can.
You're journaling, Brenton. You're journaling. It's not an unpublished blog.
We have not responded to this, and this came in September. He sent this September the 9th, and nobody responded. My God.
You never respond. I get tired of responding.
I am responding as we speak.
You've been helping too many old people die peacefully.
Let's see.
Let's see. No, I wanted to end it 5 minutes ago, and now you kept it going.
Dear Brenton, of course we would love to have you on our show.
I was kind of like over. I kind of want to I like this. Back to basics, baby. Me and you. I think that's what the people like.
They might like Brenton. We need to give.
Well, he's self-proclaimed to be somewhat interesting. That's a high bar to set for yourself.
Well, here's
wax
the deal.
Poetic. What does wax mean?
When you wax on and wax off.
Do that every Thursday.
It is it's like when you go on and on.
Wax.
What day?
But why poetic? Does that mean you think your words are poetic?
I have responded to Brenton. He might be a genius. He might be.
He might be.
Friend.
I mean, the people we've had on have been amazing. Here we go. Wax Poetic.
Yeah.
Wax Poetic is a New York-based trip-hop band. The band came together in 1997, founded by Turkish musician İlhan Ersehan. Wax Poetic is apparently a band. That's a good name for a band. That is an excellent name for a band. You're always saying that's a good band name. Wax Poetic. That's amazing.
Nicholas Hanatuk. I don't know how to say his name.
Yeah, you're going way back. Like we haven't podcasted together in 2 months.
He says he loves that "Hello There" audio clip of Enrique.
I would play it now, but I'm recording differently, so I cannot.
And Conrad Ratchford. We need to have Conrad Ratchford on. He's the computer scientist. See, we got all these people we need to have on. Other men that we can banter back and forth with.
Other men that we can fill 15 minutes worth of banter with. And then talk about games.
Do you like whiskey? Are you a boring male? Please come on our podcast.
You know what I've just discovered? We have not talked about a board game this podcast, so let's not. I thought about rebranding ourselves. Why don't we call ourselves the Bantering Snobs?
No, because here's the thing. We don't want a certain class of people, and I have found that people who play board games tend to be of that class of people. They understand.
Doctors, professors, all the folks that we've had on our show.
Correct. And if we just go banter, then we're going to start letting the dregs of society in. People who just listen to podcasts, You know, we don't want that. We want to keep this on the DL, as they say.
We'll say board games, and that makes us a board game podcast, even though we're not really.
The Squid Game Snobs.
The Squid Game.
We could have what is the game that you would like to see on the next season of Squid Game?
You know, one of my favorite games as a child was War.
Russian roulette.
No, War.
What is it good for?
You split the absolutely nothing. You split the deck, and my high card beats your card. I always love that game. Don't know why.
Are you going somewhere with that? You said a minute ago, who's contradicting themselves now? You're like, let's not talk about a board game. And then you're like, you know what I like? War. It's fun.
All right. Well, I tried to end the show 9 minutes ago, and you didn't let me. So let's end it.
I had more banter.
Can you record another?
I can record another.
Okay. Let's make this
part 1.
Yes.
I am Timothy Chalamet.
Until next time.
Jizzerack of the podcast.
Jizzerack. I'm Gabi.
He has jazz hands, and he's really into soft jazz.
As long as it's not jazz hands. God.
Really likes
Crap. All right.
Are we going?
Bye.
This is me. Goodbye.
What that's a professional ending right there.
Thank you for listening to the Board Game Snobs. Stay classy.